Like you're half white.
Still a lot of white space. I'll follow.
It's all right. I'll deal with it.
And you can zoom into more of just her if you want.
Alright, go ahead.
You're not started, are you? There's no light.
Oh, it started.
Does it say REC?
Already see.
No.
There's no light I can see.
Was there a light before? I never.
Yeah, I
I
thought
knew
so.
that light was on, but.
Okay, all right. Anyway. Hi.
Hi,
Would
Matt.
you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Glori2, and I've been around New Directions for over 20 years.
Wow.
I went through, when my daughter was about 10, she's 30 now, so that's 20 years, and I've been in and out of counseling for 28 years when my son was 2, and I heard about New Directions through a support group that I was going to through Doc Downing, and he recommended this. And the reason that I thought that I needed to come here is because I was told that you could really get to your feelings and deal with your emotions more. And I knew a lot of stuff through counseling in my head, but I didn't know how to deal with the emotional part of what was going on. And so that's why, and I thought, one of the things that I really like about New Directions that's really helped me is that I learned to accept me and like who I was, because I grew up in an abusive household, alcoholism, and the one thing that I learned really well is to not accept who I was. And I didn't like me. I even learned yesterday is that I had made, I created a belief, however you say it.
System.
Yeah, I had a belief that because of the way my mother reflected how I was to her and she didn't like me, that meant I was unlikable. And and so being here, even though I didn't feel likable, everybody reflected back to me that I was acceptable. And that was really hard for me to take. But now, since I keep on coming back here and being an assistant, and I get that reflection back, I've learned to accept me. And that's the thing that I like about New Directions the most, is that New Directions, on a feeling level, helped me to accept me and like who I was. And I didn't learn that in counseling for 20 years. And being able to come back over and over and work on it, and everybody's just so loving. And this is the only place that I've ever seen where you have so much love and acceptance, and you don't have to open up, you don't have to participate, you don't have to show who you are, and no matter where you are in your life, you get to be who you are. And you guys have helped me learn to like who I am. And then in turn, I have 4 kids that I am helping them to learn to like themselves, because unfortunately 20 years ago I didn't learn what I needed to learn fast enough, and I taught my kids to not like who they were, and they've come through and they are starting to like themselves. And if it wasn't for New Directions, I don't think I'd be liking myself as much as I do, even though I'm feeling really emotional right now. But you guys have done that for me. And I think that's the greatest thing that New Directions has done. It's just helping me to like me. And now I'm feeling all emotional and looking crazy.
Not at all. Emotional is okay, right?
Yeah, and my emotions are okay. Even though I feel really emotional, I'm okay with that. And before, I would have really judged myself and said, oh my God, Glori, you're making a fool of yourself and whatever. And I'm okay.
Well, I hear from your kids that they're very, very happy with their mom these days.
Yes. They consider the old mom that used to have rage and anger, and I was always upset and angry, and I took everything personal. And now they have the new mom that's more accepting, and we all get to have our feelings now, where before we had our feelings and nobody was happy with it, and it was just really hurtful, and everybody was in a lot of emotional pain. And now, because of coming here, I'm teaching them that emotions are good, and they're learning what their triggers are and their emotions are, and so we're good. We're really good, guys. I swear. Yeah. So.
Part of what I see you doing and accepting yourself is being able to be silly and being able to be emotional and being able to just be yourself.
Yes, and that was not acceptable 20 years ago. I was always just trying to be like, don't pay attention to me, don't notice me. If you don't notice me, that means I don't get hurt. And now I'm learning to open up and be okay and let people in. And I've done this for 20 years, and just this last month was the first time that I really opened up in new directions and let people in. So you know that I had a really big wall for a long time, and I'm like, oh, I let people in, and then I get all this good stuff. And so that was really neat to understand that if I let people in, it isn't always about getting hurt like I knew as a kid. Because when I was a kid, it was always you just get hurt. And so now I'm like, oh no, that means that people can love you and people can be your friend and people like you. And so that's a new concept, guys, 20 years later. So anyway, that's what I have to say for new directions.
Any suggestions for the people watching?
My suggestion is for anybody that doesn't understand what's going on for them emotionally, or whatever they're trying to do in their life and it's not working, if they come here, you're probably going to figure out at least what's going on and finding a way to look at it differently so you can make your life work better and you can go in a different direction or look at it differently to create the life that you want. Because a lot of people, what I see is they're living unconsciously. They are reacting like I was doing and not knowing what's going on for them. And you come here and then you start to figure out that there are reasons that things aren't working and that you're so upset. It's just that most people don't know. And that's what I learned here, is that there are reasons, and it's not good or bad. It's just whether it works for you or whether it doesn't work for you. And so that's what I've learned.
We'll talk for just a second about, you say that you found out the reasons why you're upset. A lot of people say, you know, you're the reason I'm upset, you did this to me, you, but I hear you saying I. What's the difference?
Well, what I figured out is that it's the meanings that I put to things that are making me upset. Like the belief system that even though my mother was the one that was having the problem of me, you know, she didn't like me, and she was having a problem being a mom. And as a kid, I took it on as I'm not likable, and I figured out that's not what it was about. It was about her having a problem, and as a kid, I just took that on, so now I can change it and say, no, it doesn't mean I'm not likable, it means my mom's having a problem, it says nothing about me.
So you differentiate your problems from someone else's.
Right, and it's about me and what I think about it now, and when I think differently, I feel differently.
Well, a lot of complaints about this generation is it's all about me, it's all about me, but you're saying that there's a way to do it that works for you? Well, is it just about you, like you're taking, or is it about you understanding yourself, or?
It's more about me understanding me and how I tick. And when I figure out what's really going on without judgments and putting myself down, like saying that I'm so screwed up or something's wrong with Glori, and just figuring out that it's just, you know, how I look at it. And then I can choose to think of it differently. And then when I think of it differently, then I feel differently. And this new directions is really good that way, to help you figure out what you're thinking, because most people don't even know what the heck is going on with them or how they believe and how they see things. And so that's what...
Well, I know a lot of people also try to, you know, the past is the past, so let's put it behind. I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to go there, I don't want to deal with it anymore, but...
That don't work. That's what everybody tries to do. Oh yeah, you can't do anything about the past. No, but the past will rule you if you don't figure out what's going on. And you know, if you don't take care of your emotional business, what I say is your emotional business will take care of you. And so I would rather be in charge of my emotional business instead of my emotions running me ragged, and I'm not like, what's going on? I don't know. So, anyway.
Well, I'm happy for you. It sounds like things are going well for you, and you've got a good grasp of who you are and where you're
Yeah,
going.
I have a whole family that we're all working this together, and I love that, because that's what I wanted when I was raising my kids, and we're all like one unit, and everybody gets to have their feelings, and even though it isn't perfect, it's okay, and so they learned all this too, and then they get to come, and I still want my son to come. He hasn't come yet, he has to come. But yeah, we all get to be who we are and accept each other and ourselves. And that's what we learn here, that's, like I said, acceptance. And now my kids are having to relearn how to accept themselves, because I didn't learn what I need to learn fast enough for them to be okay in themselves, because I mean, 20 years of childhood, it takes about 20 years to kind of get over some of that old stuff and those beliefs to even figure out what's going on. So, okay.
I did?
Yeah, I'm good.
You are good. Thank you. It was wonderful.
Thanks. Can I have a hug?
Anytime.